Very early on the first day of the week, when the sun had risen, they went to the tomb. And as they entered, they saw a young man dressed in a white robe, and they were alarmed. But he said to them, "Do not be afraid. You are looking for Jesus of Nazareth, who was crucified. He has been raised." I don't know that I have ever more eagerly awaited an Easter than this year. Partly that's the result of the timing of this holy day, as it arrives at just the moment when so many people are finally and fully vaccinated for COVID-19, and our churches, for the first time in many months, are beginning to reopen for in-person Sunday morning worship and the gathering of friends and family that we have missed so much. This Easter, we are hungry for solace, encouragement, companionship, connection, for all the gifts of God that attend to us when we come to church. I urge you to proceed deliberately in your Easter celebrations this year, with the same full measure of patience and grace that you have exhibited over these past many months. COVID-19 is still with us, and in fact is on the rise in many parts of Nebraska today. Not everyone is yet vaccinated. Not every activity, including parts of worship that we cherish, like singing without our masks on and passing the common cup, can yet be deemed to be safe. Many folks are not yet ready to gather in public worship, and they are right to be cautious. So our celebrations over the course of this Easter season will necessarily and appropriately be different than in years past. Smaller, to be sure, shorter, quieter. But beloved of God, let not our Easter proclamation and celebration be any less joyful. The news that Jesus rose from the dead on that first Easter morning 2,000 years ago is still as astonishing and hopeful and life-altering as ever it was. And it is news that we need to take into ourselves and hear and share, especially at a time like this. After a year of near constant worry about our health and the safety of those we love, we are hungry to be reminded of the healing might of God made manifest when the wounded but risen Jesus appears to his followers, proclaiming the power to cure the sick and mend the brokenhearted. After a year of divisive politics and our descent into partisan bickering and suspicion of our neighbors, we are hungry to be reminded that we all fall short of our human potential and God's hopes for us. That Jesus calls us to forgive and to be forgiven as we strive to follow him. After a year of violence in our streets and in our nation's capital, we're hungry to be reminded that the way of Jesus is the sacrificial way of the cross, and that wonderfully and miraculously, we can find peace and unity if we can muster the courage to walk in his way of love. And after a year of living under the threat of death, we are hungry to be reminded that on that first Easter day, Jesus forever broke the hold of death over humankind, and by rising from the grave showed us that we need never fear, no matter how great the challenges of our lives might be. Take joy this day, beloved of God, for Christ is risen. Let this news into your hearts. Celebrate it in your communities. Share it with the world. Christ is risen indeed. Happy Easter.